Have you ever felt like your children don't listen to you the way they used to? Like your words don't carry the same weight anymore? Maybe they dismiss your advice, make decisions without consulting you, or even talk to you in a way that feels disrespectful. And when that happens, it's easy to feel hurt, maybe even angry. But here's the thing, getting upset rarely solves the problem. In fact, it can push them further away. So today, I want to share with you a better way. A way to regain respect, strengthen your relationship, and feel valued again. And trust me, it doesn't involve arguments or guilt trips. Let's talk about what really works. Now, before we dive in, I want you to know, this isn't about blaming yourself. Families change, roles shift, and sometimes adult children forget how much wisdom and love their parents still have to offer. But the good news? You have more power in this situation than you might think. Small shifts in how you communicate and carry yourself can make a huge difference. So let's start with the first key step. 1. Stop chasing their approval. The respect starts with you. The first mistake many of us make when we feel disrespected? We try too hard to earn our children's respect by bending over backward for them. We say yes when we mean no. We stay silent when we should speak up. We downplay our own needs to keep the peace. But here's the truth. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's something you command by how you treat yourself. Think about it. If you're always available at their convenience, always sacrificing your time and energy without expecting basic courtesy in return, what does that teach them? It teaches them that your time isn't valuable. So the first step is to set gentle but firm boundaries. For example, if your son calls you last minute to babysit and you're tired, instead of saying, "Oh, it's fine, I'll manage," try, "I'd love to help, but I need a bit more notice next time." Simple, polite, but it sends a message. Your time matters. And here's what happens when you start doing this. They'll begin to see you differently. Not as someone they can take for granted, but as someone whose time and presence they have to appreciate. It's not about being stern or cold. It's about showing them you respect yourself. And when you do that, they'll mirror it back to you. 2. Don't give unsolicited advice. This one hurts, but it works. Now, this one might sting a little. As parents, we've lived through so much. We've made mistakes, learned lessons, and we want to protect our kids from repeating them. So when we see them making what we think is a bad decision, our first instinct is to jump in and say, "Don't do that. Here's what you should do instead." But here's the hard truth. Unless they ask for your advice, they probably won't listen. And worse, they might start avoiding conversations with you altogether. I learned this the hard way with my own daughter. Every time she mentioned a problem, I'd immediately offer solutions. "You should do this. Why don't you try that?" Until one day she said, "Mom, I just need you to listen." That hit me. She didn't want a fix, she wanted support. So now, when she talks about a struggle, I've trained myself to say, "That sounds tough. How are you feeling about it?" And you know what? Now she asks for my advice more than ever, because she knows I respect her ability to figure things out. So try this. Next time your child shares something, resist the urge to fix it. Just listen, ask questions, show empathy. You'll be amazed at how much closer you feel, and how much more they value your opinion when you do choose to share it. Now, these first 2 steps are powerful on their own, but there's one more game changer I want to share with you, something that can completely shift how your children see you. And it all comes down to, so we've talked about how self-respect starts with you, by setting boundaries and resisting the urge to over-advise. But there's another powerful shift that can change everything in how your children treat you, and it might surprise you because it goes against what many of us were taught as parents. Ready? Here it is. 3. Let them win. Sometimes, the secret to being heard. When our kids were little, we were the ones in charge. We made the rules. We knew best. But now, they're adults with their own lives, their own opinions, and if we insist on always being right, we risk turning every conversation into a power struggle. And here's the truth. Nobody respects someone who constantly corrects them. Let me give you an example. My friend Robert told me how he'd argue with his son about politics every Sunday dinner. Same debate, every week, neither budged and both left frustrated. Then one day, Robert tried something different. When his son said something he disagreed with, instead of firing back, he just nodded and said, "You know, I never thought of it that way, tell me more." And guess what? His son actually paused and then said, "Well, I do see your point about..." Just that small shift, letting his son feel heard, changed everything. Now, they have real conversations instead of battles. This doesn't mean you abandon your values. It means choosing connection over being right. Try it this week. If your child says something you disagree with, instead of correcting them, ask a curious question. What made you think of that? Or I'd love to understand your perspective. When they feel respected, they'll start returning that respect without you demanding it. 4. Stop parenting them and start enjoying them. Here's a tough question. Are you still treating your 40-year-old like they're 14? Maybe you remind them to wear a jacket, question their career choices, or worry aloud about their finances. We do it out of love, but to them, it feels like you don't trust them, and trust is the foundation of respect. My neighbor Linda used to text her daughter every morning, "Did you take your vitamins?" One day, her daughter snapped, "Mom, I'm 35, I can handle my own vitamins." Linda was crushed until she realized her daughter wasn't rejecting her love. She was asking to be seen as an equal. So Linda switched gears. Now she sends funny memes or "thinking of you" texts instead. And their relationship closer than ever. Your children don't need another manager, they need a cheerleader. So catch yourself this week. Before you offer help, ask, is this something they've asked for? If not, bite your tongue. Instead, celebrate their wins. I'm so proud of how you handled that. When they feel like capable adults around you, they'll treat you like someone worth listening to. Now, these changes take practice. You might slip up, I still do. But the final step I want to share with you, it's the quietest, yet most powerful of all, and it doesn't require a single conversation. We've covered so much ground together, setting boundaries, listening more than lecturing, letting go of always being right, and shifting from parenting to partnering. But there's one final piece that ties everything together, and it might be the most powerful of all, because this isn't about what you say, it's about who you are. 5. Become the person they admire. Respect without words. Think about someone you truly respect, not because they demanded it, but because of how they carried themselves. Their calm confidence, their quiet strength, that's what we're cultivating here. Because when you become that person, fully engaged in your own life, pursuing your interests, maintaining your dignity, something remarkable happens. Your children start seeing you differently. I want you to picture 2 versions of yourself. Version 1, always available at their beck and call, your mood dependent on their attention, your conversations focused mostly on their lives. Version 2, busy with your book club or volunteer work, learning new technology not because they insisted, but because you wanted to. Sharing interesting stories from your week. Which version commands more respect? Here's the simple truth. Respect flows to those who respect themselves first. So this week, I challenge you to invest in yourself like never before. Sign up for that class you've been thinking about. Reconnect with old friends. Tackle a project that excites you. When your children see you thriving independently, their perception of you will shift naturally. No arguments needed. The ripple effect. Putting it all together. I know what some of you might be thinking, but my situation is different. My children are so stubborn. And you're right, every family has its own history. Maybe there are deep hurts to heal. But remember, you're not changing them. You're changing you. And when you change, the relationships around you have no choice but to change too. Start small. Pick just one of these strategies to focus on this week. Maybe it's biting your tongue when you want to give unsolicited advice. Maybe it's planning something wonderful for yourself that has nothing to do with your children. Each small step rebuilds your confidence, and that confidence becomes magnetic. I've seen this transformation happen countless times. The mother who stopped dropping everything for her son's last-minute requests, and suddenly he started calling just to chat. The grandfather who took up painting at 70 and found his grandchildren actually sought out his opinions. These aren't miracles, they're the natural result of showing the world and your family that you value yourself. Closing thoughts, with warmth and hope. If you take nothing else from our time together today, remember this: respect isn't taken, it's given. And it starts with how you treat yourself. The beautiful thing? It's never too late to begin. Whether you're 60, 70, or 80, you have so much wisdom, so much life left to live on your terms. I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Which of these strategies resonated with you? What small step will you take this week? Your experiences could inspire someone else going through the same thing. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend who might need to hear this message too. And don't forget to subscribe. We create new content every week to help you live your most vibrant, empowered life at any age. Until next time, remember, you are worthy of respect, you are worthy of being heard, and most importantly, you are worthy of a life that excites you every single day. Here's to your next chapter, being your best one yet.